So yeah, welcome everyone, and thanks for attending today's webinar, where we'll be exploring software for volunteer programs that engage one-to-one with clients. So just a quick intro about myself and my role within Better Impact. So I'm Daniel Green. I'm the software sales advisor here at Better Impact, supporting small to enterprise-sized organisations across UK, Europe, and Africa, exploring our software solutions. You can probably tell from my accent already, but I'm born and raised in Essex, UK. Spent most of my career in sales and really have a passion for helping and supporting people to achieve their goals. So just some takeaways that you'll all be benefiting from today's webinar. These will include common problems facing programs that match volunteers to clients. We'll have a quick program assessment combined of 4 questions. Why the right software tools matter. We'll also conduct a high-level overview of volunteer and client impact. And I'll also share a few resources and a link to obtain your PDU certificate for attending today. So stick around towards the end. If you're not too sure what a PDU is, that stands for a Professional Development Unit, sometimes referred to as a CEC as well, which is Continued Education Credit. So stick around, I'll share that link towards the end. So there are a vast array of orgs running programs whereby volunteers do engage one-to-one with clients to deliver a service. And on your screen are just some examples there you can see, such as hospices, social services, tutor, mentoring programs, and so on. So if your org is running such a program, you're in the right place today. So the common problems faced by many organisations running programs where volunteers engage one-to-one with clients could be volunteer and client data managed in multiple and disconnected systems. Maybe it's unsecure methods of volunteers reporting on client interactions. It could be too much data entry, not enough time to lead and engage your volunteers and clients, or maybe you're working with a tight budget. Well, hopefully Better Impact has the solution. Being that volunteer impact is a top-rated solution and client impact is an optional module add-on where all seek to bring their volunteer and client management efforts into one platform. Protecting your volunteers' data. So how can you tell if a VMS vendor prioritizes data protection? So one easy way to tell is to look for the ISO certification. So ISO 27001 is the world's best known standard for information security management systems. So ISO certification means that the VMS vendor respects all the best practices and principles enshrined in this international standard. Having the actual certificate rather than simply following the guidelines is an important distinction because it means the vendor has actually been audited by an independent body once a year to make sure the standards are being met. So you'll be pleased to know that we are one of these vendors with ISO 27001, and we are also Cyber Essentials certified as well. So we're just going to kick off with some questions now. Feel free to use the chat box as well, just to put your answers. You can have more than one answer if needs be. And question 1, which problem resonated with you the most from the last slide? Is it number 1, managing data in multiple and disconnected systems? Is it number 2, unsecure methods of volunteers reporting on client interactions? Number 3, too much data entry. Number 4, not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers and clients. Or is it number 5, working with a small or a tight budget? I'll give you a few seconds there just to punch in your answers. Thanks, Helena. Number 1 and 4. Yeah, managing data in multiple disconnected systems and just not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers. And Eleanor, well, really a bit of all of them. Yeah, it could be 1, it could be 2, it could be all of them. But we do normally tend to find out that, the main kind of problem is time consuming as well. So definitely number 4 and even 1 comes into that role. Thanks. On to question 2. How are you managing your volunteers currently? Is it number 1, spreadsheets? Is it number 2, a VMS, which is a volunteer management software? Or is it 3, something else? If it is 2 or 3, feel free to share with what it is you're using. That'd be great. Thanks. Wow, thanks, Helena. Number 3, using Cascade HR database. And Eleanor, using spreadsheets. And with this question, I think the majority of answers I do get from all previous webinars, it does seem to be spreadsheets. You know, they are free of charge to use, but you know, how much is that costing you in time to really get the full effect of engaging with volunteers and clients as well. Thank you. Question 3. How are you managing your clients currently? And again, number 1, spreadsheets, number 2, a CRM, or number 3, at something else. I'll give you a few seconds there just to put in your answers again. Thank you. If you're not currently managing clients, just feel free to just put 0 in if you want to. Okay, thanks, Helena. So number 3, and transferring data onto spreadsheets. Okay, so again, using too many disconnected tools, and Eleanor, a mixture of 1 and 3. There we go. Thank you. And question 4. In your opinion, what's most at risk if a change doesn't occur sooner rather than later? Number 1, volunteer turnover disengagement. Number 2, client turnover disengagement. Number 3, staff turnover disengagement. Or is it number 4, wasted money? Number 5, damage to all programs' reputation. Or is it something else at number 6? Thanks, Eleanor. Number 1 and 2. Yeah, volunteer and client turnover disengagement, which can be as you know, a major flaw in your program. Yeah, first and second knock-on effects, absolutely. So why having the right tools for the job matter? Did you know that more than half of all employees are unhappy at work because of the software tools they're using? Well, 51.95% says yes. Have you ever become dissatisfied at work due to missing or mismatched software? And just to let you know that these stats have come from G2's 2019 State of Software Happiness Report. So being provided the right tools to perform the job plays into our level of job satisfaction. So when the right tools are not in place, our level of efficiency and effectiveness decreases. So this is one factor that can be or can contribute to our own happiness in our role. So this is quite an alarming fact. So about 1 in every 8 employees has actually quit a job because of mismatched software. So the fact that this is a cited reason for people leaving a job just speaks to just how important it is to outfit employees with the right tools for the job. So turnover is disruptive to progress and goal attainment. So let's get you and your team working with the tools that make you feel less frustrated and rather more empowered and productive when you do your job. Now I'm going to share my other screen, and we're going to go and I'll introduce a quick high-level demo of volunteer and client impact. So as this is a high-level overview, I'll try to put in as much as I can within the time frame we have. But what you're seeing on your screen right now is what we call the admin dashboard. So when you log in as an administrator, this screen is what you're presented with. We're going to focus mainly today on these main icons at the top here. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is your dashboard. It is an end-to-end VMS software solution. So you can manage your volunteers and clients all the way from start to finish on their life cycle with you. Now, this screen here and these statuses is what we call, or what we say the volunteers going through their life cycle. You've got applicants, so everyone that's just signed up, sitting there as an applicant. We have the in process, which are all applicants that are currently under screening. Maybe you're waiting to approve some qualifications or custom fields. We have accepted, so these are all your current active volunteers. We have inactive, which I like to call is your leave of absence status. So these could be volunteers that are taking a long leave of absence. Maybe it could be medical, maternity leave, just having a break from volunteering, but at some point will return back to your program. And lastly, we've got archived. So these are all volunteers that have moved on, resigned, dismissed, or even rejected at the start, didn't match your screening process. And you can see here, there's some options you can put there as to why they are being archived. Now, these tabs here, these do represent the modules. So as this is volunteer and client impact, if you click on the client tab, and again, you've got the same statuses going where you can measure on your clients and where they are on their journey with you and your program. So what I'm actually going to start with is how you can advertise your activities and get people to sign up and apply for Better Impact. So something you'll be able to do, if I click on the configuration icon, is create a public page, or it could be known as an advertising page. So here, as I'm going to flick now and show you, when you create a public page, this will be branded by your organisation. So here we use an example hospice. And down here, this is where you could add an image gallery. This is something backed up by a Flickr feed. You'll be able to have a news feed as well. You'll be able to showcase all your opportunities, where it's befriending services, bereavement support, fundraising events, and so on. You'll also be able to add a mission statement onto your public page as well. So just giving a little bit of a background or a vision on your organisation. Now, back up at the top, we've got a social media feed as well, which is backed up by Twitter, or now called X, and Facebook. And as an applicant, I will click here to apply. So once you have created your public page, you will literally hyperlink this and add this to your website, and this is where you're going to drive for recruitment. So if I want to apply, click on fill in application form. It's going to take me to this page. So first of all, I'll just need to register with what we call a My Impact page account. So what that is the volunteer login portal. So volunteers will be able to register with this My Impact page. They'll also be able to download it for free as an app on any iPhone or Android device and use it on the go. And on here, I will be able to log my hours. I will be able to sign myself up for any shifts and activities. And I will also be able to log my encounters that I have with my clients as well. So all I need to do, if I'm brand new, just register like most things online with a username, password, and address. And then I'll go through to fill out your application form, which could look something like this. So again, your application forms is all branded by your organisation. We have a general availability chart at the top, so your volunteers can pick and choose when they're available. You can add as many qualifications in here as well, what you need to gather. And the additional info, these are what we call custom fields. So custom fields are like your customized data collecting questions. So these could be things or kind of data you need to gather from volunteers, such as references, emergency contacts information, criminal history or DBS background checks, driving licenses, anything like that. You can manipulate what type of answers you want with custom fields as well. So we've got things like drop-down menus. We've got date fields. You have short and long text boxes. Yep, drop down menus, check boxes, and also number fields and a file upload as well. So if you do need to gather something like a driver's license or a CV upon application, choose the file upload, and that will give the opportunity for the applicant to download a file. You can also set permissions on custom fields as well, whether you want them private, so they're only for the admin eyes only, whether it's read only, read write with approval, or without approval as well. So as an applicant, once I've completed and filled in your application form, I'll just submit my application now. All that information feeds automatically back into your admin portal, and I will land here as an applicant, and I will sit there until you determine where I go next, depending on your screening process. You will see some system alerts pop up here as well, such as custom field approvals, qualification approvals as well. And what's really good with qualifications is that you can add expiry dates to these as well, which will flag up here if they are expiring soon, which is great for auditing. And if they are, it will just prompt you to reach out to your volunteers just to get them to renew them qualifications, so they don't fall into this category here of expired qualifications, which, as you know, may not make them eligible now for the role they're contributing towards. Not only have you got the application forms, but as this is client impact as well, you'll also be able to create what we call an acknowledgement or an intake form for your clients to fill in as well. And again, that could be maybe someone, they could fill it in themselves, maybe a relative or one of the organisations on their behalf. Brilliant. So back up the top here, before I go on to these key icons, I'm actually going to show you what the volunteer profile looks like. So in this search bar on the top right, just click on the little green person. I'm going to start typing one of our demo volunteers, Victoria Smith. You haven't got to put the full name. As soon as you start typing, the system will start to match what you're typing. Click on here. And this is the volunteer's profile. So this is Victoria Smith. Okay, so as you can see here, you can upload a profile picture of the volunteer. She will also be able to do this from her My Impact page account as well. You can see a quick snapshot of some contact information, most recent contributions and history. You can see in a bar graph chart her contributions by month in hours. And there's also a pie chart, just letting you know total hours by which activity. And another cool feature we have is badges. You will be able to award badges to your volunteers as signs of recognition and awards. So these could be things like milestones, anniversaries, lifetime hours, feedback fields, and also qualifications as well. We have got some templates you can use. However, you will be able to upload your own images if you have them on file as well. So back up to the top, you can communicate with Victoria Smith. You will be able to send her an email. You can add images, links, attachments into this email. When you send this email, it will land in the inbox of whatever she's registered with as a volunteer. You will be able to send a personal message as well in these subtabs underneath communications. If you send a personal message, that will land on the homepage of the My Impact page account, so she can see that if you just want to say thanks for coming in last minute to help out. There's also an email history stored on each volunteer profile, and there's also a note log, so you can make any notes on a volunteer as well. And only admin can see these note logs, by the way. So, as I've mentioned, volunteers can assign themselves up for any activities via their My Impact page. However, you can add volunteers manually yourself, and you can also assign them to activities yourself as well on the volunteer's behalf. So as I'm just on Victoria's profile page, this is where you can assign her up to activities. You can see her schedule. So what Victoria has up and coming. You can see her hours, what she's logged. You can just do some reports on Victoria. And something that you can do with having clients impact is you can create connections between volunteers and clients. So you can associate a volunteer with one or more clients, and vice versa with clients and volunteers as well. So you can say exactly who, which volunteer is connected to which client. Brilliant. And then on the main tab here, I've got some more sub-tabs underneath. So you can see all of Victoria's contact information. You can see all her custom fields, everything she filled in on the application form. However, custom fields, are not just used for application forms. They could be used for the entirety of using Better Impact, just to gather that data from your volunteers. And for clients as well, you'll be able to create these custom fields, very similar, create them for the intake form or just to gather that information on clients. You can see her qualifications. General interests. So general interests are more like want ads. They're kind of the fields of interest that the volunteer is interested in. So these could be things like fundraising and events, bereavement support, tutoring. It could be admin, food and catering. General availability. And there's a miscellaneous tab here as well. So on here, you can see when the date the volunteer joined, all sorts of hours, log permissions, time clock permission settings. And here as well, you'll be able to change her status. If Victoria's let you know that she's going on leave for a while, you might want to move her to inactive. Brilliant. Back up to the top. I'm going to go onto this people icon here. So every time you click on any of these main icons at the top, it does bring up all the subcategories here on the left-hand side. Okay, so on the people, you can do a quick search. You can add volunteers. You can add clients manually. You can bulk update user qualifications. You can see the connections between volunteers and associated clients. If I click on now. There we go. So there's the volunteers and the clients they're associated with as well. If you want to do a quick search on a group of volunteers or clients, you can do it on this page as well. So just click on the search here on the left-hand side. You can choose whether you want to search on a volunteer, a client, or even an admin. I'm going to choose a volunteer. I'm going to choose all our accepted volunteers so you can check the status. If I just want a list, let's say, of all my volunteers that have a qualification, when you click on qualifications, you'll be presented with this drop-down menu. Now, these are all your qualifications that you would have added in as well. Okay, so if I put something like befriending training is equal to completed, add and go, and there we go, 10 people were found. Now, if this is a kind of a search that you like to save rather than keep repeating it, you can just press save, give it a name, volunteers completed befriending training. All you want to do is check that box that says pin search and then save. So what you've done basically is you have created a pin search, which is unique to every administrator when they log in, which is presented on their dashboard here as well. And these all update in real time as well. So back over to the communicate icon. Once I click on here, you'll be good to know that there's 3 main methods of communication within the software. That's email, there's texting, and you can do a mail out as well. You can do that in mass, in filtered groups, or just to individuals, as you can see from the volunteer profile. So I'm actually going to do an email. So all we need to do, again, on the left-hand side, select send email. And again, you're presented with this kind of filtering page. I'm just going to choose accepted again. Now, if I want to do a mass email, for example, if I do things like monthly newsletters, I'm just going to press search. I'm not going to filter down on anyone. And I go 105 people were found. You can put in your email here. And again, you can add attachments, links, images. What's a really cool feature is that you can use and save email templates as well. So if you do things, if you send regular emails, whether it's weekly, monthly, save it as a template, and it saves you retyping the whole email every time. So if you want to do something like, you just want to send a thank you to everyone. There we go. It saves it. And then send email. And that will go out to all them 105 people. And again, if I want to add a search criteria, I'll just go back up to the top. Let's say all volunteers that have their availability at weekends only. Check general availability. I'm going to check Saturday and Sunday. Add and go. There we go. There's 3 people found that give their hours at weekends only. Send whatever email you want just by clicking there. And again, if this is a kind of a group of people that you communicate with quite frequently, hit the save, give it a name, weekend availability, and you'll be able to save that and pin that to your dashboard. Your pin searches will update in real time as well. So if people have been added to that after you've made that list, they will be added. So onto the Assign tab next. So this is where you can assign volunteers in bulk. You can see, all the activities, what's filling in on the calendar as well. You can see it's in a list or a calendar view. So if I click on calendar, there we go. You can see it on a monthly basis. And then there's a lot of red and blue. So the red, meaning the activities are still vacant, right through to the blue, which means the minimum amount of volunteers has been confirmed for that activity. Now, if you want to digest into the activities on a particular day, just hover over the day, click on Wednesday, 1st of May, and there we go. These are all your activities that are taking place on 1st of May. You see, you haven't got to worry about these ones. They're all blue and they've minimums been matched. However, there's a dog walking activity that does need some attention. No one signed up for this yet. So on here, you're kind of presented with this filtering page where you may want to filter around everyone that's qualified and accepted with no overlapping assignments. Press search, and your volunteers that match that criteria will pop up here, and you can assign them either in bulk or to individually to that activity. And then if I actually go back while we're talking about activities, if I go onto the configuration icon. So this is where you configure the software, and you'll mainly use this this kind of feature at the very start. So this is where you can brand. You've got your brand settings, so you'll be able to brand the My Impact page to like it's your organisation, the application forms, and the public page that we mentioned as well. This is where you'll add all your custom fields, your qualifications, and your badges. And just under here, activities, is where you create the activities. So you can create activities, you can give them schedules, whether they're recurring and you want them with a set of shifts. You can have them kind of disjointed, or one time only, which is more for events, or just unscheduled. So that means, a volunteer can sign up as of when they've got some free time to that particular activity. You can group your activities as well into categories. Just here's some we've created. So you've got befriending visits. There we go, that are associated with clients. So if you are using Client Impact, you can only associate one client per activity. Okay, just bear that in mind. You'll be able to manipulate who sees these activities as well based on qualifications, which is a really cool feature as well. So, only people that are going to be qualified for that activity can see it on their My Impacts page and sign up for that as well. We've also got, while I'm actually on the configuration page, we got another cool feature, which is e-learning modules. So you'll be able to create online learning content for your volunteers to take online. These could be things such as whether that you need them to read some policies or documents and set a couple of questions at the end to prove they've read it. Or it could be some training material where you can upload a video or a link into that e-learning module as well. And you'll also be able to associate qualifications with these e-learning modules. Your volunteers will be able to take these from their My Impact page accounts as well. And on here, you'll also be able to create client reporting fields as well. So if I click on here, just under the connections on the left-hand side. So you have got the feature of feedback fields, but having client impact means you will be able to create these clients reporting fields. So when a volunteer goes to log their engagement with a particular client, it's just grabbing that more time. So when you create these will be visible to the volunteer when they log that engagement on their My Impact page, which I'm going to move over and show you shortly. But just to finish up on here, you'll also be able to report on anything and everything, as long as you have that data tracked and recorded. So things like logged hours, hours by activity, hours by volunteer. You can get all kinds of different kind of reports, whether it's a chart or a bar graph. You can report over any date period as well. So if I do last year, this is on hours by volunteer, view reports, and there we go. So it shows you at the top the volunteer with the most hours through to the bottom with the least, and it gives you a total hours, number of volunteers, and the average per volunteer. You'll also be able to export this information to Excel and CSV as well. Just show you another quick one, an hours trend. There we go, showing you number of volunteers, hours volunteered, and average per month in the bar graph format. And one of my favorites on the reporting suite is the general profile award data reports. So you can pretty much make up your own bespoke reports on your clients and your volunteers, where you can just pick and choose what you like to report on. So I'll just give you an example here, accepted. And then you're going to press search, and you've got all these fields you can pick and choose what you like to pull out on a report. By default, it will have the last and first name checked, so you can just check any boxes with any other information you like to add. This is grouped into custom fields. So if I just check some random ones, references, just checking some random qualifications and general interests. Let's say their availability is Monday through to Friday. View profiles. And there we go. This brings up all the results. You just scroll across to see all the fields. Brilliant. So now you've seen what it looks like from the admin side. I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like from the volunteer's perspective. There we go. So this is the My Impact page. As you can see there, this is branded by your organisation at the top. This is what we call a banner. And on here, I've logged in. Obviously, this is the desktop version, but as I've mentioned before, your volunteer can download this for free as an app. And then you're going to see a lot of similar information that we saw from the volunteer profile. So there's, and this is Victoria Smith again. So there's Victoria's badges. There's that image gallery. There's a personal message. You remember we mentioned if you just want to say thanks to Victoria for coming in to help out at last minute. There's a news feed as well. So you've got a news feed on your public page as well as the My Impact page, which all volunteers will see. There's your mission statements again, your social media feed. And at the bottom here, we have got a feature called a document library, where as an admin, you'll be able to store any documents into your admin portal. These could be waiver forms, policies, volunteer handbooks. And if you want to, you can share these with your volunteers. And if you do so, they'll have access to them here in the bottom right. Now going back up to the top, we're just going to quickly go over these tabs here. So opportunities. So as a volunteer, I would like to see what's up and coming for me to sign up for. I can either see this in a list or a calendar format. So there we go. And I'll just click on that one. If I'm interested in becoming an administration receptionist, and I can just sign up there. I can see my own schedule. that I have up and coming. And this tab here is where I can log my hours and my connections as well. So if I've just come back from a visit with, let's say, one of the clients, Katie Smith. There we go, I can put Katie Smith here. These are the clients that I'm associated with. Put in the encounter date. And there we go. This is what was the client reporting fields that's been added in the engagement field on the My Impacts page. You'll be able to report on all this information as well. I can just do a quick report on myself, my hours. I can see contact details here. So if I need to contact an admin, I can do so here. I'll also be able to see the clients I'm associated with as well, just some brief info on them. So Charlie Canterbury and Katie Smith are the two clients I'm associated with. You can see some notes there about a particular client. And on my profile, this is where I can see my contact information, my additional information, which all of the custom fields and everything I filled in, my qualifications, the training. So as I mentioned, if I'm due to take a e-learning module, this is where I'll be able to take them. I can also set myself goals. We'll also have a time clock QR code as well, which is a really cool feature. So if you have a device at the place of work where the volunteer will be volunteering, your volunteers will be able to scan in using a QR scan code and scan out as well, which is really cool. Brilliant. Right, let's go back to the slides. So I'm just going to show you a quick video of some of our members of Better Impact that uses volunteer and client impact.
It allows restricted access for our managers. So it basically means that we can set what each of our managers can see, which volunteers they have access to, and also what they can do on the record. So they might be able to view it and not edit it, things like that. Their application then becomes their database record, which is amazing. It means we didn't have to input anything. And we can attach documents to their records, monitor qualifications, expiry dates. It's all in one place, which is amazing for us.
We can just go into the system and actually choose that option that Cam was referring to, where we associate the client to the volunteer, and then the volunteer is able to access a limited amount of information in a notes for volunteer section. That's really helpful too, and that really alleviated a lot of work in terms of paper sheets that we were giving to volunteers and tracking it in binders, and all that information is at my fingertips. I don't have to contact the volunteers and ask them to bring in their sheets so that I can look them over. I can just go into the client's profile and see that the note that the volunteer has logged.
It's super simple from the volunteer side. We wanted something that was going to be easy to roll out to our volunteers, knowing that they weren't really going to like change anyway, and that we would also be able to use that was easy for us on our end. Client impact, we needed to find something that was HIPAA compliant, because you were talking about confidentiality and security. For us, it's all about HIPAA. Anything that would be good for the volunteer to put in there, there's a section that you, when you assign a client to a volunteer, that's a set of notes that they can see, the volunteer can see. That's been really helpful for them as well.
One of the big concerns was security. Our finance director was like, HIPAA compliant, it's got to be, and I was like, it is, look, it is. The ability to customize has been absolutely phenomenal for us. That's been one of my main jobs, was to go through and look at all the different kinds of forms that we used to collect data, and then tailor Better Impact for that. It's just wonderful that you can input that piece of data and it can be used at any one of those sub accounts, or not be seen, or it can be seen by some people and not by others. So I love that it's so customizable and easy to use. So Better Impact are really helpful, and they offer an opportunity to improve the system dependent upon good ideas from customers. So that's good. So it's very tailorable. You can have people just accessing a certain part or all of it, depending. And reports run directly from finance, reducing time in staff creating reports. I've got to say, love that. And our finance department are loving it too.
Brilliant. So now that you've heard from some of our members and a little bit about volunteer impact and client impact, I'll now share with you Better Impact's background. So our story began with Better Impact. It actually started by fluke. So our CEO, Tony's passion project of building a web-based volunteer management software solution for residential hospice he founded actually birthed the beginnings of a global We're Here to Help company. So we are 20 plus years old now. We are a small company, but we do have a global impact. We have offices here in UK, Canada, USA and Australia, but we do have customers, all over the globe. We specialise in volunteer management software, volunteer impact, but also providers of donor, member, and as you can rightly see, client impact as well, that all integrate with volunteer impact. And lastly, we're a here to help company.